What's up, Elevation Riverwalk? It's Matt here with Micah and Lucas. He's 3 years old, she's 4 months old. And I don't know if you knew this about me, my wife is actually a couples therapist. She's quite the boss. And when she's seeing clients, I get both of the kids. And so I find myself on regular occasions, here your gummy bears, buddy, trying to do my job while also being a parent with a kid who eats, sleeps, poops, and cries, and a kid who really wants my attention and needs to be developed. And when those things come together, this mixture of priorities, my life feels so chaotic, where I feel like a bad parent. I feel like a bad husband. I feel like a bad employee when those all three of those things come together. And I find myself during this COVID season often trying to escape those realities and this location that God has placed me in rather than embracing it. And I was struck the other day because we're doing a Bible study through the Gospel of John on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. You should come. It's super fun. And I was reading through it, and I came across a passage that I had read 1,000,000 times, but I read it differently this time. And it's in John chapter 4, when Jesus is leaving Jerusalem and heading up to the Sea of Galilee. And the text said that he had to go through this place called Samaria. And I was struck in two ways. Because how can the God of the universe, the author and perfecter of our faith, Emmanuel, God with us on earth, how can he have to do something? Like, how can God on high put himself in a position where he has to operate in a certain way, that he has to do something? And then on the other side of it, how could he have to go through Samaria as a Jewish human being in the ancient world? You see, Samaritans were considered half-breeds and not part of the Jewish faith, because 500 years before, 600 years before, the Assyrians had come into that part of Israel and intermingled with the people who lived there. Thus, they were half Assyrian and half Jewish. And the Jews in Jerusalem and the Sea of Galilee were actually racist against them. So what they would often do is bypass the entire country of Samaria as they were going back and forth. But Jesus had to go there. It didn't make sense to me when I came across it. How can Jesus have to do something like that? And then I realized as I read through the text that God had a mission that he wanted to accomplish through Jesus that could only be done if he took steps like he did to go through Samaria. That there was a woman who was drinking from the wrong well and needed living water. That there was a group of people who had been worshiping at the wrong rock but needed to understand that God wanted them to worship in spirit and in truth. That's what he needed to understand. That's what they needed to understand. That's what his disciples needed to see. Jesus had to go through there if his mission for being on earth was ever going to be accomplished. And now bring it to your scenario, your chaotic situation with your kids, your anxiety-inducing situation with your job, and whatever else you might be dealing with right now. Maybe you're actually sick or have people who are sick and you don't know what's going to happen to them. You are placed in this position where you have to go through something. But again, it was interesting because Jesus didn't have to do anything, but he chose to do it. And what if we, in this situation that we feel like we've been forced into, that instead of trying to escape it, instead of viewing it as a burden that we have to bear, what if we viewed it as an opportunity to choose God and to develop in ourselves a new understanding or acumen for his character through the season? What if instead of escaping, we embraced it? Wouldn't that be interesting? How would I view my interaction with these kids throughout the rest of this season if I chose to embrace it as opposed to trying to get family to come in and watch them while I do my job? What would it look like for me to embrace this season where I'm at home and not just wait for the day that I get to come back into the office? God's trying to do something. And unless I look for it and choose to embrace it, I'm going to miss it. So my encouragement to you guys this week, you're put in a position. Choose to allow God to work through it. And I can say 1,000,000 other things about it, but these kids are about to go crazy, I'm sure. And you've got stuff going on. Let's embrace it. And let's step forward and allow God to be glorified through whatever this situation turns into over the next 2 weeks, 2 months. Hopefully not much longer, but let's embrace it. I love you guys. I can't wait till I see y'all back on a Sunday. I don't know when that's going to be yet, but I can't wait. Bye.